Alright, anime fans, it's time to commit blasphemy. Welcome to the video where I say the unsayable, the kind of stuff that makes comment sections erupt, like Deku discovering a new quirk. Some popular anime are mid. Yeah, I said it, not terrible, not god tier, just aggressively average. We're talking about shows with hype levels over 9,000 but substance barely scratching the surface. Let's be honest, not every anime that breaks the internet is actually good. Sometimes, flashy animation and cool character designs hide recycled plots, inconsistent pacing, or arcs that felt like homework to finish. Sometimes, it's nostalgia goggles. Other times, it's just Twitter doing what Twitter does best, overhyping everything. Now, before the pitchforks come out, this isn't to say these shows don't have their moments, but being popular doesn't always mean being well written. So in this video, we're counting down 10 massively hyped anime that are gasp, just mid. Grab your popcorn, brace yourself for controversy, and maybe open the comment section at your own risk. Let's dive into the war zone. Starting the list with number 10, Naruto Epic Journey, but let's be real, overhyped and overstretched. Naruto is one of the OG shonen anime that defined a generation with a world full of ninjas, intense battles, and a heartfelt story about never giving up. But no matter how iconic it is, it's also got some glaring issues that can't be ignored. First off, the story starts strong. Naruto Uzumaki, the underdog with a sealed demon fox inside him, dreams of becoming Hokage and earning respect. The early arcs deliver great character development, clever fights, and emotional moments that stick with you. But then, the filler hits, and hits hard. Naruto is infamous for dragging its feet with endless filler episodes that pad the story for years. It's like the anime couldn't decide how to finish, so it kept throwing random side quests and pointless battles at us. Want to binge? Good luck skipping hundreds of filler episodes. The pacing suffers a lot. Important battles, like Naruto vs Sasuke or the fight with Pain, get stretched with repeated flashbacks and slow-mo moments. Meanwhile, some characters and plot threads never get the closure they deserve. Power scaling? A mess. Characters suddenly unlock god-tier powers with barely any explanation. By the time Shippuden rolls around, it's a non-stop parade of power-ups, transformations, and nonsensical jutsu that confuse more than excite. Character writing is uneven too. Naruto's growth is great, but some supporting characters get sidelined or reduced to cliches. Sakura, for example, spends much of the series caught between useless healer and random punching bag, frustrating many fans. Despite the flaws, Naruto is a nostalgic, passionate ride that shaped anime culture, but it's also proof that hype doesn't always equal perfection. Up next on number 9, Jujutsu Kaisen. Great fight scenes, but sometimes style over substance. Jujutsu Kaisen came out swinging and quickly became a shonen darling, with breathtaking fight scenes, slick animation, and a vibe that's both dark and fun. But beneath the hype and the non-stop action lies a show that can feel a bit shallow at times. First, the positives. The animation quality from MAPPA is nothing short of spectacular. Every battle is a visual feast, with fluid choreography and devastatingly cool cursed techniques. Yuji Itadori's raw athleticism and Gojo's godlike swagger make fights feel fresh and exciting. The soundtrack pumps you up, and the pacing in early arcs is tight and intense. However, the show leans heavily on style. The characters, while likable, often fall into familiar shonen trope. The determined underdog, Yuji, the stoic genius, Megumi, the cocky, overpowered mentor, Gojo. While the series does try to explore deeper themes like death, curses as metaphors, and the weight of power, it sometimes skims the surface instead of diving deep. The story progression is decent, but occasionally predictable. Some villains feel a bit generic or lack strong motivation, and the plot twists, though exciting, sometimes feel rushed. Plus, the world building hasn't fully fleshed out the mechanics of curses and sorcery, leaving certain rules vague or inconsistent. Also, Jujutsu Kaisen can get repetitive. The formula of intense fight, right pointing arrow brief emotional moment, right pointing arrow new stronger enemy shows up, plays out a bit too often. Fans love it, but for newcomers looking for something more layered, it can start to feel mid. In sum, Jujutsu Kaisen is a visually stunning, adrenaline-pumping show that's a blast to watch. But if you're after deep storytelling and complex characters, it might leave you wanting a bit more. Now on number 8, Attack on Titan, Epic World, but plot twist overload. Attack on Titan is like the anime equivalent of a roller coaster ride through a haunted house. Terrifying, thrilling, and occasionally utterly confusing. No doubt it's a landmark series that reshaped dark fantasy anime, but let's be real, It's also got some major mid-moments buried beneath the hype. The animation? Jaw-dropping. Studio Mappa and Wit nailed the brutal, gritty atmosphere, and those 3D maneuver gear action sequences are iconic. The Titans themselves? Terrifying and grotesque in the best way possible. Hats off for world building that slowly unravels mysteries like an onion, layer after intense, tear-jerking layer. But here's where things start to get messy. The pacing? Sometimes slower than a Titan waddling to lunch. Seasons 3 and 4 stretch out the political intrigue, and backstory dumps so much it feels like the plot's stuck in molasses. For viewers craving action, it's a grind. Plot twists? Oh boy, they come fast and furious. The problem is, the sheer number of them starts to make your head spin. Did Eren flip from hero to antagonist? Did Historia's backstory really need so much screen time? Some reveals feel forced or overly convoluted. Like the writers said, "Hold my beer, here's another twist." Characters also get a wild ride. Eren's transformation into a brooding, borderline villain in the final arcs confused many fans who loved his earlier fight for freedom vibe. And some supporting characters that we cared about just vanish or get shoehorned into the political drama. Don't get me wrong, Attack on Titan is a masterpiece in many ways, but beneath the epic battles and jaw-dropping moments lies a story that sometimes trips over its own ambition, turning from brilliant to bewildering. Now on number 7. Fairy Tail. All the fire, none of the focus. Fairy Tail is like that loud, boisterous party you didn't want to go to, but ended up having a weird amount of fun at until you realize the host forgot to clean up after the 3rd bottle of tequila. The anime is overflowing with heart, friendship, and explosions, but it often forgets to serve a coherent plot. Natsu and the gang have the classic shonen vibes down cold. Fiery determination, epic battles, and a relentless friendship conquers all mantra. That's great, but Fairy Tail leans way too hard on the friendship speeches. Like, we get it, you love your guild, but sometimes it's every 5 minutes. The series has a talk-fight disease. Characters spend more time yelling about friendship than actually fighting. Plot-wise, it's all over the place. Story arcs start strong but then meander, or get extended endlessly, often padding the episode count with filler or recycled scenes. The Tenru Island arc had potential, but dragged on with reused animation frames and a bizarre resurrection plot that stretched disbelief thin. The villain roster is a mixed bag. Some are memorable, but many are forgettable or shoehorned in with generic motives. Zeref is supposed to be this ominous, tragic villain, but his backstory is dropped so late it feels tacked on. Plus, the anime sometimes forgets how dangerous magic should feel. Characters shrug off attacks that should leave them toast. The animation fluctuates too. Some fights look slick with dynamic choreography and dazzling magic effects, while others look like a PowerPoint presentation with characters blinking awkwardly. In the end, Fairy Tail is a warm hug for shonen fans craving friendship and flashy fights. But it's also the reason some viewers question if the phrase plot development exists in anime. It's a fun ride, but don't expect the storytelling to keep up with the fireworks. On number 6, Black Clover. If screaming was a strategy, Black Clover is the anime equivalent of that friend who's constantly screaming, trying to prove they're special, and you kinda wanna support them, but they make it really hard. The concept? Solid. Asta, a magicless underdog in a world full of wizards, aiming to become the Wizard King? Classic shonen fuel. But the execution? Rougher than sandpaper on a sunburn. First, let's talk about Asta's voice. I'm not even joking. His early episodes are 50% yelling, 30% shirtless push-ups, and 20% I'll never give up on loop. It's motivational for about 2 episodes. Then it's just noise. Literal, ear-shattering noise. And while Asta is busy howling his lungs out, Yuno is over there being the human equivalent of a blank sheet of paper. He's powerful, cool, emotionless. And that's it. Their rivalry is built on vibe, not actual chemistry. Naruto and Sasuke had trauma, tension, and ideology. Asta and Yuno have wind magic and yelling. Now let's talk animation. It's wildly inconsistent. Some fights go hard, like Studio Pierrot's animators skipped sleep and lunch for this. Hard. But then you'll hit 5 episodes of recycled frames, stiff action, and static characters blinking like NPCs in a beta test. The pacing? Oh boy. This show has the Dragon Ball Z disease. 2-minute plot, 15 minutes of yelling, and flashbacks during every single fight. It stretches arcs like it's aiming for a Guinness World Record and filler avoidance, and somehow still feels bloated. The world building's decent, and the magic system can be cool, but it's buried under loud tropes and cliché writing. Every villain's either cartoonishly evil, or gets a rushed redemption arc with sad music and a tragic backstory. Black Clover isn't the worst, it just tries way too hard to be peak shonen, and in doing so, settles for being aggressively mid. Up next on number 5, The 7 Deadly Sins from Epic to Eyesore in 2 seasons flat. The 7 Deadly Sins had it all: a powerful protagonist, an elite group of misfits, cool powers, and just the right amount of edgy Holy Night drama. Season 1? Banger. It was goofy, action-packed, and actually made you care about the squad. But then Season 3 showed up looking like it was drawn by toddlers with crayons during an earthquake. Let's talk about Meliodas first. The guy's supposed to be the leader of the Sin, a 1,000-year-old demon prince, and the literal definition of OP, and yet his main character trait is being a walking sexual harassment chart. Like, bro, groping Elizabeth every episode isn't personality development, it's just uncomfortable. And the power scaling? Straight up nonsense. One minute Escanor is flexing like a god, the next he's losing to someone we've never heard of. Characters get random power-ups like it's a mobile gacha game. Oh, you're about to die? Here's a new transformation and a tragic backstory. Enjoy, but the real sin, the unforgivable one, is the animation drop. Season 3's animation looked like someone smudged Vaseline on the screen and called it a day. The once gorgeous fight scenes turned into PowerPoint presentation. That Escanor versus Meliodas battle should have been legendary. Instead, it looked like an AMV made by a sleep-deprived hamster. The pacing nosedived too. It rushed plot lines, dumped exposition like a Wikipedia article, and still somehow dragged. And Elizabeth? Girl spent most of her screen time fainting or getting kidnapped like she was auditioning to be Princess Peach. At its peak, SDS was a hype machine with lovable characters and solid world building, but by the end, it felt like watching your favorite band break up mid-tour and get replaced by tone-deaf cousins. 7 sins? More like 7 reasons to rage quit after Season 2. On number 4, Sword Art Online started a genre, then self-destructed. Sword Art Online walked so every isekai could run, trip, and fall into a harem. Let's give it credit. SAO really was revolutionary in 2012. The idea of dying in a video game? Terrifying. A VR world with swords and waifus? Chef's kiss. But after that killer first arc, the anime pulled a nosedive faster than a noob, tanking a boss without potions. Kirito is the most broken character in anime, not because of his power level, but because plot armor practically bathes him. The man dual wields because reasons. He wins every fight because the script says so. And somehow, every girl in a 5-mile radius falls in love with him. Asuna? Queen. Deserved better. Everyone else. Basically Kirito fangirls with different hairstyles. After the original Aincrad arc, things went weird. Like, my girlfriend's trapped in a cage and her captor turns into a tentacle demon. Weird. That Alfheim Online arc? Pure filler disguised as fairy glitter. Then comes Gun Gale Online, which had promise, but even a bullet-dodging lightsaber duel couldn't fix the identity crisis this show spiraled into. By the time we hit Alicization, it's just philosophy majors role-playing in Fantasyland. Sure, the animation is solid, and the soundtrack still slaps, but SAO tries to say deep things about consciousness and AI when really it just wants to look cool, while Kirito saves yet another princess. Mate, and the pacing? All over the place. Emotional stakes vanish, because we know Kirito will win, always. The tension's fake, the dialogue's cringe, and every villain is either laughably evil or deeply creepy. SAO's legacy is undeniable. It kickstarted modern isekai, but it's also the poster child for wasted potential. A legendary concept dragged down by bad writing, harem cliches, and a hero who can do no wrong. Now, on number 3, we got Tokyo Revengers, time travel trauma with zero payoff. Tokyo Revengers pulled up like, hey, what if erased but longer, dumber, and everyone wears drip? And you know what? People ate it up at first. The time travel concept hooked us. The gang aesthetics were slick, and Takemichi felt like your average loser turned reluctant hero. Cool setup, right? Until you realize he never stops being a loser. This man cries in every episode. I don't mean Deku cries a lot levels. I mean Olympic tier sobbing over the same people he already tried and failed to save 5 timelines ago. How many timelines do we need until someone gives this guy a spine? And the plot? It plays whack-a-mole with deaths. You save one friend? Cool, now 2 more die. Rinse and repeat. It's a time travel anime with zero actual progress. It's like trying to fix a leak with chewing gum. You think it's working until the next episode floods everything again. The worst part? None of the deaths even hit anymore. The stakes feel fake. You just know Takemichi's gonna go back and undo it anyway, or mess it up worse. And the villains? Cartoonish. Kisaki is like if Light Yagami watched too much reality TV and decided murder is a personality trait. The guy has more plot armor than Goku on a good day. Also, can we talk about the gang names? Tokyo Manji Gang sounds like a fanfiction squad, and they act like middle schoolers who just discovered what honor means. They throw hands like it's recess, but we're supposed to take it seriously. Cut. At first, the angst, the twists, and the emotional stakes seemed deep. But as the story drags on and logic checks out, it's clear. Tokyo Revengers is a messy soap opera in a gang uniform. Drip can't hide mid. On number 2, My Hero Academia. It peaked in Season 2 and never recovered. Okay, deep breath. I'm about to throw hands with the entire MHA fandom, but let's be real for a sec. My Hero Academia had a legendary glow-up in Season 2 with the sports festival arc. The Todoroki reveal? Emotional. Deku breaking all his bones for the millionth time? Inspiring. Bakugo screaming? Standard. But after that high point, it's been a downhill sprint with rollerblades on fire. Season 3? Decent. But that's when the cracks started showing. We had some great moments, sure. All Might's I Am Here retirement fight slap. But let's be honest, the emotional weight has been replaced by clutter. Too many characters, too many side plots, too many overdramatic speeches about what it means to be a hero every 5 minutes. Bro, just punch the villain already. And Deku? My guy's growth is on a treadmill. He's always breaking through his limits, only to cry, apologize, and reset next arc. I love the green bean. But can we please get more than 2 episodes of confident Deku before he collapses under crippling anxiety again? The villains started off strong. Shigaraki had potential, Stain had edge, and the League was spicy. But now we've got 10 billion villains and none of them are getting proper screen time. The war arc was like watching a Call of Duty mission with bad pacing and no revive button. And don't get me started on how often the series tells us how inspiring things are, instead of letting the moments speak for themselves. They milk All Might's legacy like it's a shonen cow. MHA isn't bad, it just lost its bite. It's shonen comfort food, familiar, flashy, but not filling anymore. Peaked in Season 2, and now it's chasing its own hype like Mineta chases relevance. Finally at the top on number 1, Demon Slayer, pretty but hollow. Let's be real, Demon Slayer is basically a Victoria's Secret model of anime. Beautiful, flawless skin, but don't ask it to explain quantum physics. Ufotable carried this anime like Tanjiro carries Nezuko in that wooden box. The animation? Peak. The fight choreography? Chef's kiss. But strip that all away and what do you get? A shonen with plotlines so basic they make instant noodles look gourmet. Atsunzi Tanjiro is nice, yes, but he's also just nice. Inosuke? Loud bore. Zenitsu? Walking meat, who somehow lands girl. Nezuko? Sleeps 80% of the runtime, wakes up to kick once, goes back to sleep. The villains are either tragic sob stories or mustache-twirling maniac. No in between. And don't get me started on Mazan. Man pulled up in a fedora and said, "Call me Michael Jackson." It's the kind of anime that makes you feel like you're watching something profound until you think about it and realize nothing really happened. People cry, scream names, and swing swords. Rinse, repeat. The plot is predictable. The themes are surface level. And the only reason people cry at deaths is because the soundtrack emotionally manipulates you like a Pixar movie. Yes, the Motion Train arc hit hard, but it hit hard because of the visuals and music, not because you actually knew Rengoku deeply. He was introduced and killed off in the same arc. That's like bonding with a goldfish you just bought, and then crying when it dies 10 minutes later. Is Demon Slayer enjoyable? Absolutely. Is it mid when you look past the glitter? Yep. Ufotable deserves award. The source material? EH. It's not trash, but it ain't the GOAT either. Sorry, Tanjiro stands. Whew. Still alive? Still breathing? Because that was one spicy take for PC. Look, at the end of the day, anime is subjective. What hits mid for one person might be someone else's all-time favorite. And that's totally valid. Every show we roasted today has millions of fans, and it's perfectly okay to love what you love. Heck, we even like most of these anime, just not without some eye rolls and skipped filler arc. But sometimes, it's fun to break out of the hype bubble and admit that not every top-tier anime lives up to the pedestal it's placed on. Whether it's bloated pacing, character arcs that go nowhere, or overdone tropes, some of these shows need to take a seat next to the word overrated. Did we miss your favorite anime on this list? Did we go too far, or not far enough? Let the comment section become the battlefield it was meant to be. Civil War mode. ON. Don't forget to like, sub, and slap that bell harder than a shonen protagonist powers up mid-fight. More hot takes and unfiltered anime truth bombs are coming your way. Until then, stay chaotic, stay opinionated, and stay unapologetically anime. Peace.